So that was the mayor speaking to us earlier this evening. So the collapse of that dam wall not only spread silt and sludge across the area, it also destroyed the water treatment plant at Jagersfontein. There are also growing concerns that the silt and the sewage will make their way into water that is used for drinking. Let's speak to someone who can talk about the broader picture of water supply in that area. I'm joined by Maruping Rapundungoane, the head of operations and maintenance at Bloemwater. Thank you so much for joining us. You sent out a media release saying that the water treatment plant at Jagersfontein is inoperable. Just talk to me about what the water treatment plant does. Is this just for drinking water, or is this also part of the sewage system? Just talk me through what is being destroyed.
Oh, evening, Sally, and evening to the viewers. Thanks for the opportunity. So, Sally, basically at Jagersfontein, we have two different supply systems. One is for drinking water. The other one is the wastewater treatment works. So with this disaster that happened on Sunday, we found out that with the whole town losing electrical power, that then affected the operations of the drinking water treatment works, which could not be operational. However, the sludge further damaged the wastewater treatment works, which is under the municipal operations. So as Bloemwater is one of the 9 water boards in the country, our mandate is to make sure that drinking water is supplied, in this case, to the areas of Kopanong local municipality, with Jagersfontein being one of the 9 towns that we serve.
So, okay, so that gives me clarity, and it also explains why we know that there's raw sewage that is mixing into the silt, because the sewage plant was also destroyed, and as you say, the drinking water treatment plant has also been rendered inoperable. This is, as you say, affecting 9 towns. So how long before drinking water is re-established for these towns?
So basically, Sally, what I was trying to say is that Kopanong local municipality has 9 towns. However, Jagersfontein alone is the one affected out of the 9 towns. Not all 9 towns are affected.
So Jagersfontein that's affected.
That's correct. That's correct. Just Jagersfontein. Yeah.
And how long? So, oh, sorry. You continue.
So I was saying this disaster, when it happened on Sunday, it took out the electrical work which ESCOM managed to only resuscitate by last night, which meant that 70% of Jagersfontein town, with 30% being the part of Charlesville, which is covered with sludge, is still affected. However, 70% of the town now has electricity. With us as the drinking water responsible for the people of Jagersfontein, what we managed to do with the help of the mine, we managed to get back the plant operational by Monday late, after we managed to get a bigger generator that would be able to run the water treatment works, which obviously the mine came to party in this case, so that we can be able to supply the community of Jagersfontein for Smith with water. And like I've just reported now, that ever since last night, ESCOM did restore the power, and therefore all is 100% operational with regards to the power that ESCOM restored or managed to restore last night.
So what about the water supply? How long is that going to take to be fully restored to Jagersfontein?
Water is restored as of last night fully, but we still have 1 or 2 tankers that are staying there for contingency point of view. However, I can confirm that all areas in Jagersfontein are receiving water from the tap, with an exception of Charlesville, which is the one that is affected by the sludge.
Okay, so let's talk about there's some real fears, and we've spoken to the Deputy Minister of Water yesterday. He said engineers from their department are on site. They're trying to prevent that silt which is going to turn into liquid again once the rain comes, which could then flow into rivers, which then could move into the Kalkfontein Dam, which I understand is a dam where some drinking water is drawn from. How much concern is there that where you draw the drinking water could become polluted and then, of course, perhaps affect a broader area?
Well, it's a serious concern, just like the Honorable Deputy Minister said yesterday on an interview. However, the Department of Water and Sanitation, as the key stakeholder manning all dams in the country, as the Deputy Minister said yesterday, they are currently taking routine samples at the catchment, in this case, Kalkfontein Dam, just to make sure that the water that we abstract as the entity is not contaminated. Over and above that, it's also our obligation as an entity to make sure that in terms of the SANS standard of the country of drinking water, we don't just receive the raw water that we get from the department as is, we also test the quality thereof so that we can make sure that when we give the community the drinking water, it's compliant to the South African National Standards 241 of 2015. Right. This is a standard that measures drinking water quality.
So currently, is Kalkfontein Dam, are you picking up any contamination at this stage, or you're just trying to mitigate a possible risk?
This is in line with the mitigation risk measures that we need to prevent. And like I was saying, the department is currently doing routine tests. However, we have not picked up any contamination from the catchment point of view, and also from our side with regards to the raw water samples that we are checking at the water treatment works. We have not picked up anything yet. However, one needs to mention that the risks that in actual fact the Deputy Minister was trying to emphasize is that should there be a rainfall, obviously the sludge that is there might find its way via a runoff into some of the catchment and start contaminating even the groundwater as well.
Yeah, and that is the real worry, because a water scientist we spoke to said that rains are expected in the next day or two. So obviously I would imagine you continue with your testing, because it's the Department of Water that would have to somehow try and head off that sludge if it liquefies and heads to the dam. Am I right?
That's correct. As per standards, we are sampling once a week. However, every 2 hourly, there are operational analysis that are done in a treatment works. So as an entity, we quite pride ourselves in making sure that water quality is not compromised. And in this case, for Jagersfontein, it will be business as usual, as we do with other water treatment works that we man in the Free State, Northern Cape provinces.
Just talk to me about Kalkfontein Dam, which obviously you're monitoring closely. How many areas, villages, towns does that feed with water?
So Kalkfontein, in that area, it feeds Forestmith and also Jagersfontein as a town. So it's only the 2 towns that really gets water or drinking water from Kalkfontein. The other 7 towns of Kopanu are really getting water elsewhere. The 3 towns are getting water from the Harib Dam, the biggest dam in South Africa, and the other 4 are getting water from Welbedacht water treatment works, which is a different system than this one altogether.
And that's safely far away from the site of the disaster, I would imagine. Yes. You spoke to me about Jagersfontein, and you say that with Eskom getting their power up, water treatment can sort of carry on and the water is coming out of the taps, and that's fine. You did say that the extensive damage in Charlesville had led to, I think, water in 70% of that area not getting water. Just clarify for me, when is water going to be fully up and running in Charlesville?
Well, Charlesville is just the 30% out of the 70% of the whole Jagersfontein. So Charlesville is just a portion of the other townships within Jagersfontein. You have the Itumeleng township, which is currently fully restored. and the town itself and other portions of Jagersfontein town. Only Charlesville, which is the 30% that I was referring to. However, with this one, we have placed JoJo tanks in strategic positions for people in Charlesville alone. And in this case, we still water cutting to those JoJo tanks up until the mop-up operations is completed. Then obviously we'll start to look at the issue together with the municipality, the issue of the reticulation system if it's not damaged.
And how long could that all take?
Well, as a bulk service provider, Sally, I would not be in the right position to take that because it's the responsibility of the municipality, as they are the ones manning the reticulation. So if I have to make an example, it's like a rainwater supply in Joburg Water in Johannesburg. Joburg Water has its own reticulation space, whereas rainwater supplies you with bulk water in Gauteng.
All right, so it's very hard to say, as you say, because they're still mopping. Also, they're not too sure of the extent of the damage. But thank you for clarifying that and bearing with all my water questions. So, in effect, in that area that's been affected, Charlesville has been the worst affected. It represents 30% of that area, and Charlesville is still without water because mopping up and assessing the damage is still underway. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time this evening and certainly assurances that there's ongoing testing of the water. At this point, Kalkfontein Dam is not contaminated. There are concerns if the rains come, but everyone seems to be aware of the risk and being fairly proactive. So let's hold thumbs, no more problems in that area, though of course there's still a lot that has to be sorted out. That was Maruping Rapundungoane. He's Head of Operations and Maintenance at Bloemwater.